Welcome to the dark side.
Welcome back, guys. This is part 2 of which we are going to call none other than what goes up must come down. Just like we talk about every time, 100% probability. That's what shorting is. It's 100% probability trading because what goes up must come down every time. And there's something that we call the parabolic arc. And the drop is coming and there's nothing you can do to stop it. It happens every single freaking time. And this is also, I believe, based off of Fibonacci retracements. Now, everything that I'm going to talk about right now is not to the T, but you'll see this pattern kind of play over and over again, where typically after a parabolic move, a standardized level of potential pullback is about 62%. And if we look at a Fibonacci retracement, typically how that works is when we look at the numbers here, Fibonacci from the 0 point is 27%, 61.8%, and 78.6%. This key level of 61.8% is basically what they're just using here, what we call the parabolic arc. There's about 62% retracement from the top of a pullback. And when we look at Ethereum, back when I was calling this, and I was actually heavily short here on Ethereum, over 4,000, the first run that it made up with over that back in April of 2021, May of 2021, I posted on my Instagram saying, counting down the ticking time bomb on Ethereum, because it was gone 100% parabolic, a huge massive move from 2,000 over 4,000 in a very short amount of time. And I knew for a fact that the end was coming. I didn't know exactly when it was coming, but I knew 100% fact with 150 billion% certainty that a crash was coming. I just didn't know exactly when it was. And we'll talk about how I anticipated here at about 42.50 that this was going to happen. But I also guesstimated that it was going to happen potentially around 32.50. And I actually stopped out of my shorts here. But I was pretty heavily short here on Ethereum in this range right around here. And then the next day, this thing just absolutely got annihilated, where Ethereum eventually dropped 61.32%, right? Which is not necessary, ironically, at all, that the fact that the parabolic arc and the Fibonacci retracement 61.8, which is also parabolic arc 62%, look exactly what Ethereum did off the top to the lows, 61.38%. This is like a perfect example to the T of it going exactly about 61.8. But there's also probably the psychological factor of this, because people actually do look at Fibonacci levels like, okay, it's now down 62%, a perfect Fibonacci pullback. This is a great chance to buy the dip here. Technical analysis, parabolic arcs, dip buying, support levels, these are all self-fulfilling prophecies. They work because people are all looking at a similar idea and using these levels as areas to either buy or sell. These are basically just understanding levels of supply and levels of demand, and then people react to those levels, and then price action sometimes reverses off those levels. It's never perfect, but it gives us an idea of ranges to potentially be getting in or out. So you can see the Ethereum move there from my call, counting down the ticking time bomb on Ethereum over 4,000. Then literally the next day, it spiked out, had a blow off top, of which we'll talk about here shortly, and then followed by a 61% decline on Ethereum. So just looking at how every trade works across the board, guys, wolf versus sheep mentality, of which we talked about in Krypton, obviously, but we'll look at this kind of in the sense of a parabolic arc as well, basically on the risk of assessment of the timeline. Obviously, before things go parabolic, only a few people are looking at this as a trading opportunity. And this basically, we see a small diamond in the rough. These are the wolves that are looking at this trade down here when it's only maybe up, plus 10% gain in this range here, right? So the stock or crypto or whatever it is has made like a small potential move, or it's forming up in a pattern here, right? Forming up in a pre-breakout pattern before that actually starts triggering a massive move to the upside, which then leads to the diamond getting bigger, and then all the sheep fucking talking about it because now it's on the top gainers list. But we were there much sooner than that, before it even went to the top gainers list, right? So only a small percentage, maybe like 2 to 5% of the people who are in early on good investments are there. And then all the sheep and the hopium fuckfaces come in and crowd the thing. And that also leads to euphoric rises in price action, because we need idiots. All these people who maybe after this thing broke out, now maybe a small group of people still get in here when it's, a little bit over the breakout level. And then all of a sudden it hits all the top gainer lists and all the crypto scanners. Then all of a sudden a bunch of people are tweeting about it. Okay. And then that turns into this hysterical thing of everybody crowding around the next big investment opportunity, but it's not a big investment opportunity. It was a big investment opportunity back in the 2% range when all the wolves got in, right? Now, all these people are living off the hopium syndrome, the hope and greed. And now that's going to lead to a parabolic and irrational spike to the upside, followed by a massive 50 to 80% decline after that, which then we try to take advantage of. And then we can see that exactly happening here on Ethereum, parabolic arc, obviously in the timeline. Then we saw this thing just go completely irrationally parabolic here. A lot of people are just buying in. Everyone's talking about it. I remember people tweeting at me, messaging me on Instagram, like all these girls, like, my boyfriend just bought Ethereum at 4,000. I'm like, you're crazy. Why would you buy something that's already up massively 100% in like a week? It's stupid. You're asking for trouble. You're asking to get your ass fucking kicked. And that's just the way it happens every fucking time. And you can see risk of timeline. It was already risky up here at 2,000. Yes, it did go up another 100% from there, but you're playing with fire when you're seeing these massive parabolic moves and massive gains here. And that crash is absolutely coming 100%. And then all of a sudden people start panicking. You can see on Ethereum, once it dropped, it just had these massive 20% plus candles where things just got completely fucking annihilated. And that's not fun to be holding long. It is fun to be holding short. I can tell you that. So that's exactly what happens. And just kind of what you need to understand about the parabolic arc. What goes up comes down 100% of the time. It's just fact.